आजादी के 75 साल देश बनाता होगा, तब तक बिग 4 को बिग 8 में बदल देंगे और जो बिग 8 होंगे उसमें बिग 4 यही मेरे सामने जो लोग हैं उम्मीदों से होंगे। दोस्तों, ये सपना हम लोगों का होना चाहिए।
Okay, so great. Good morning, everyone. Hope you liked our small introduction.
Fantastic, yeah.
Good morning, dear Chartered Accountants. Welcome to the Chartered Chat Show. We have a great show lined up for today for you guys, and it is really going to be a very wonderful day. This is Nishchit Shetty, the host for the day. Before we move ahead, introducing the guest, I would like to convey something. We Chartered Accountants have been really concerned about IIA and CA Amendment Bill. We might not have the answer to how the things will work out in the future, but definitely taking care of the present, we have brought up this theme of empowering Chartered Accountants with our Chartered Chat Show. We are running 2 hashtags, as mentioned by Yogesh Bhandari, hashtag empowering CA, hashtag proud to be a CA. Do participate with us on the social media. Now moving towards the introduction to the guest today, we have with us here today the convener for the Mira Road Study Circle, Sri Dinesh Jain, who will give a short introduction to us. Dinesh sir, please.
Good morning. Good morning, dear friends. We really welcome to Anil Bhandari ji. Anil ji, we are with you since the beginning, and I think the manner in which you are going to show the future of CA to all the members will be a fantastic thing to hear. And that is a great event for all the members to really know what to do after studies. Till now, Anil ji will be really giving a fantastic future for all CA, and we know it is a bright future. So we are very eager to hear Anil ji. Anil ji, we welcome you to Mira Road Study Circle. And it's great opportunity for all the members to hear you. Thanks a lot. And welcome.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Dinesh.
Yes, so we also have us with here today, CA Shweta Jain ma'am. Ma'am, may I please request you to make the introduction for today's guest?
Regional Council Member CA Shweta Jain. Nishchit. Khali
Yes,
Shweta Jain
yes.
nahi hai abhi wo.
It's completely fine because I am before WRC member, I am member of Mira or CP Study Circle. So it's completely fine. So convener Dinesh Ji Jain, our ex-Central Council member Anil Bhandari Ji, Siddharth,
Thank you.
Deputy Convener, Yogesh, Nishchit, and all the participants and viewers who are listening to us. A very good morning to all of you. So अनिल भंडारी जी का नाम मेरे को लगता है कि कोई इंट्रोडक्शन के लिए अपने को जरूरत नहीं है, बट ऑफ कोर्स ही इज एक्स सेंट्रल काउंसिल मेंबर, also a past chairman of WIRC. And first, let me congratulate to Mira Road Study Circle team for organizing this wonderful series, the Chartered Chart Show, with I can say on a right time, with right and perfect speaker. So of course, my compliments to all of you. So definitely I'll not talk much today because today we all are here to listen from Anil sir. So thank you so much. Over to Nishchit.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, and welcome Anil Bhandari sir to the Chartered Sector. Thank you for being with us today.
Pleasure is always mine. Thank you.
Okay. So even though I'm nervous talking to you, but we will start. So, sir, we've designed
First,
this.
I must tell you that the beginning of a session, I've never seen this before. Not too loud, not too soft, a very appropriate video with a lot of concerns also highlighted, and you've shown the future already. So you have no reason to be nervous. I think there are a lot of people on the other side nervous. So that's perfectly okay, Nishchit. Go ahead,
Yes.
please.
And we've lined up in a very innovative way, we can say, the entire session. You will experience it as it moves forward, but definitely it is broken down into 3 segments. So we're moving on to the first segment now.
Okay.
So the first segment here talks about the speaker. So, sir, we will talk about you, your life, your journey, also touching upon the subject for the day. Okay. So first, sir, for all the fans of yours who are on this call and who would be watching this video, tell us, what is your story? How did you choose this profession? Let's go back to the time.
Okay. Well, interesting time. So, one is choosing commerce. I think was a given because commerce kind of ran somewhere into the family. So, I don't think I had too much choice there at the time to think through science or commerce. If I were to be taken some 20 years back, maybe I would have probably chosen even engineering. Looking at today's world, of course. Not that I wouldn't have done chartered accountancy, but sometimes a great combination of engineering and chartered accountancy is fantastic. Anyway, so getting into college, and when you especially go to colleges like Nursi Munji College, Sydenham College, HR in Bombay, and then of course any commerce good college that you would have all across our city, there are only 2 opportunities that always comes to mind. You know, innovation was never an opportunity. I never knew that. You know, there is a saying: if you want to become a millionaire, you go to college and you finish college. If you want to become a billionaire, you actually don't go to college. You drop out from college. Correct? So, well, I didn't know about those at that point in time. So choosing between an MBA and a chartered accountancy was, I think, left to us. Even then and even today, I still very strongly believe that chartered accountancy actually makes you a whole person, right? And MBA gives you a fantastic. बोलते ना, if you look at an arrow, the tip of the arrow and the front ending of the arrow can be in some ways a MBA because you know he's given his skills sharpened to that level. But the entire piece of the other arrow is a chartered accountant, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, the chartered accountant is fundamentally grounded, fundamentally strong. So I think that is something that I kind of was easy for me to choose. So, and I would choose that even today because you become a whole person if you're a chartered accountant. You can dabble into business, you can do professional services, you can do consulting, and if you're personally got your skills right, then you can become a great marketing person and so on and so forth. So that is what I think made me choose chartered accountancy. And I'm lucky today because when you do business or when you do profession across from different regions across the world, you are able to think through just about every aspect, legality of it, the financial construct of it, the profitability of the segment, the product profitability, everything. You're able to think through everything. So I think a fantastic choice even today. Moving up from wanting to become a chartered accountant to becoming a chartered accountant, I think then you come to a cusp of what is it that you really want to do in life here, right? So, so I think I will stop here and say that if your question relates to why chartered accountancy, then I think in my mind, I think these were some clear aspects that even today I would carry the same aspects that I would think through that I would want to become a chartered accountant. And the day I want to complete this by saying the day I became a chartered accountant, I just couldn't digest the fact. And I've said this in a lot of students conferences कि घर पे आ गए एक बार सीए बन गए उसके बाद पूरा वो नशा ही उतर गया कि सीए बनना है अब क्या करना है मतलब you are blank, suddenly blank, you know, literally blank in your mind. And the first thing that I did, I remember this very well because you know as a kid I always used to remember यार हमारा सिग्नेचर बहुत पावरफुल होता है, हमारा सिग्नेचर बहुत पावरफुल होता है. तो मैंने अपने सिग्नेचर को देखा सबसे पहले and I suddenly realized यार ये क्या गंदा सिग्नेचर है यार, मतलब इसको कोई देखेगा बैलेंस शीट पे तो हंसेगा बॉस, right? So the first thing that I did, I walked up to हमारे यहाँ पे पहले शॉपर स्टॉप शायद नहीं था वो टाइम पे in Andheri West on the SP road, and there was a bookstore below that. I think shopper stop ही था, but there was a bookstore below that, and I went and took a book of how to make signatures. What are the best signatures in the world? And I learned every aspect of a signature and then changed my signature on that day. And I registered the new signature with the institute. Not that it is good, bad, ugly, or whatever, but I thought it was important to get the product, the outcome right. And the outcome for a chartered accountant was this, you know, nice signature that you put on top of any document that you do. So yeah, I think that was a refreshing day as well.
I think the signature thing is perfectly relatable to all the audience here, including me, because even when I was introduced first to this course, it was like the same thing, sir. That's very, very, very relatable, I think, to every one of us here. Now, tell us something about your daily work schedule. How do you manage your work? What tools or techniques do you use to be productive, more productive?
Let me just take you maybe a minute back. How much time do we have today, Nishchit? It's up to 11:30, is it?
It's 12.
Up to 12. Okay. So I would want to take you a step back. After having decided chartered accountancy, not knowing to do what to do was a very critical aspect of what I would want to do after becoming a chartered accountant. And that is a tricky question that all young chartered accountants have even today, right? What to do. And the fact that you've shown them so many things even leaves one confused कि करना भी क्या चाहिए यार, मतलब CA तो बन गए but करना भी क्या चाहिए. And this question actually runs in the mind of all the seniors also कि भाई 20 साल से हम कर रहे हैं but suddenly is that going to be valid, not valid? So what should one do? And when I came out and wanted to become a practicing chartered accountant, that question kind of, you know, hit my head. What is it that I should do? First thing which comes to mind is बैंक ऑडिट कर लेते हैं because कोई दिला देगा, कोई दोस्त दिला देगा, something like that, you know, and easy to grab whatever. Sometimes concurrent audits are easy to grab because you know you can move around. And my brother told me, yaar, why don't you all your friends are in ENY, KPMGs, Anderson at that point in time, why don't you go to them and try and do some work for them, right? And see if you can get it outsourced and stuff like that. I said, I don't want to do any of those. So I sat down to do some research. And everybody has a dream to make a Big Four, that so-called Big Four, Big 10, whatever we may want to call that. तो मैंने बोला ये होता क्या है यार, ये Big Four होते क्या है? And I did research and I came to know कि चलो ये Big Four है, Big 5 है. Then I did a research कि ये इनकी थीम क्या है, सब Big Four की, करते क्या है सब लोग, जो you know why are they so different? Of course, one is the size, no doubt about it. But size होने के बाद करते क्या है? Then I came to a conclusion that during that time, 99-2000, every Big Four was getting 60% of their revenues or 70% of their revenues from doing consulting engagements using tech. तो ये सब जाते थे कंपनियों में, डीप डाइव करते थे और चेक करते थे कि आपका प्रोसेस नहीं चल रहा है, तो ये सजेस्ट करते थे, why don't you buy this technology, why don't you buy that technology, use the technology and your process will become faster, better, quality would become better and stuff like that. So I looked at Anderson, I looked at EY, KPMG, Deloitte, I looked at all of them and that was the theme, right? Then I saw कि ये Big Four के पापा कौन है यार? ये Big Four के पापा है McKinsey, you know, a lot of other Boston Consulting. What do they do? I realized that they also try and talk to a client about changing the future, right? Just give me 1 minute here. After having done this research, and why am I saying this to all of you here today? Because I want to impress upon you that anything and everything that you do, there has to be some kind of deep diving even before you want to try and do something in that. And fortunately, I don't know, nobody taught me that, but I did something like this before. And I realized that even those guys are looking at high-end tech. They are looking at high-end tech, and because they want to change the entire style of the company. The Big Fours, the so-called Big Fours, क्या करते हैं? Process improvisation करते हैं, right? They are not a lot of times changing the style of the company, change the product, right? If you're running a car, fly a car, that McKinsey does. A Big Four would tell you, get the tires right, get the handles right, get the drivers right, and so on and so forth. And then I said, okay, then I researched who are in India doing anything like that, right? So I looked at the Big Four in India, Indian firms. And I realized कि यार इन लोग तो टेक वेक तो कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे हैं, फ्यूचर तो कुछ बता ही नहीं रहे हैं, प्रोसेस इम्प्रोवाइजेशन कर नहीं रहे हैं. They are looking at more trying to maybe create a larger audit practice. 5-10 पार्टनर कर देते हैं अलग अलग रीजन में, पार्टनरशिप साइन करके वगैरह वगैरह. और उनका एम्बिशन was only one, becoming a central statutory auditor for a bank, right? So I said, अपने को क्या करना है? So I said, why don't we look at something which is between the so-called Big Four and the Indian so-called Big Four, and try it or find out a practice which the Indian firms are not doing, right? And align ourselves to that practice. And that is where I thought looking at technology controls at that point in time would be a fantastic idea, because none of our local firms are doing it. That would probably give me the edge to do something faster, right? And grow up and scale up a little faster. And touch wood, a fantastic decision made at that point in time. And I started to go and tell everybody, मैं तो systems audit करता हूँ. When people didn't hear about it, right? I do systems audit. I look at technology. एक भी नहीं किया था, एक भी systems audit नहीं किया था, right? But I read so many books on systems audit. I read the entire SAP manual 10 times over that I even today know the table structure of SAP, for example, right? 50,000 tables with their codes and all of that, which I think a lot of chartered accountants are familiar with today. That brought me into a practice which was niche at that point in time. So what happens is when you go to a company to seek for any work, they welcome you because you're talking something new, you're talking something fresh. They want to hear you. Even a CFO wants to listen to you. Even a CIO wants to listen to you. तो सब बोलते थे यार ये तो बिग फोर वाले करते हैं, आप क्या करते हो उसमें? ठीक है, आप बता दो आप क्या करते हो. Everybody wants an alternative, my friend. Correct. And I must end this by saying that it is such an interesting time that a big four, one of the big four is doing tax work for a company. One of the big four will be doing statutory audit for the company. तो दो तो कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते हैं, और दूसरे दो की तो शक्ल भी पसंद नहीं है वो कंपनी के सीएफओ को, मोटा मोटा. क्योंकि अगर पसंद होती ना तो टैक्स उसको दे देता और स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट दूसरे को दे देता. So everywhere there is relationship, right? When I say पसंद नहीं है means there's a relationship, right? So people like some people because of human relationship, the way you are presented, the way you articulate it. And if you walk in at that point in time, you are a preferred auditor, vendor, consultant for them because they've already ruled out two. Because they would have tried, not been happy with their services. And that really helped me to scale up the firm from just 3 people in 2001 to 700 or 800 people that we have today, and scale up the practice into those niche areas, and then converge the practice back into even some old practices that people would be doing. So I think I just wanted to put this across to all our members here today, that it is never too late for anybody to reimagine something interesting, something niche, because you will find a lot of takers for that. Yeah.
Key takeaways would be to innovate, find your own niche, and go out on the market, put it to people out there.
Correct.
So tell us about a time. So this is a time when we speak that you were seeking inspiration and trying out new things. Did you also have a mentor? Was there anyone that you followed? And tell us something about, maybe if yes, then the qualities of your mentors.
So I did not have a mentor. When I started off doing something, but I tried to imagine a lot of mentors when I started off doing something. So not necessarily everybody has a mentor, right? But when I went out to seek out my practice, there's somebody who caught my finger for the first time and who believed in me. So I would have gone and made a presentation, somebody liked it, somebody believed in me, and somebody said, चलो ये बच्चा कुछ अच्छा बोल रहा है यार, इसको कुछ काम दे देते हैं, 2 लाख का काम दे देते हैं, 5 लाख का काम देते हैं, वगैरह वगैरह. Happened to be a very senior executive somewhere. Out of all the presentations I made, he liked it. He caught my finger and he started to give me some work. I kind of made sure that I delivered it very well. So one led to another, another led to another, another led to another, and that is how typically you grow. But didn't have him as a mentor to come and tell me. Unfortunately, this is something that we miss. Sometimes क्या होता है ना, in management courses, in MBA courses, you end up having either a senior as a mentor, because you're working as a team there, you're staying there. But we miss having mentors at that point in time. But maybe during articleship, maybe if you have a good relationship with your boss, you'll end up having a mentor or whatever. So if you don't have a mentor, what do? You should create mentors in your mind and look up to some people and follow some set of people. Right?
Like a role model.
That is like a role model, absolutely. So this is what I try to set up for myself. Right? If you ask me, what is a great design, which is the product delivery, forget about the product being good or bad. What is a great design and amazing product delivery? I will take the role model of Apple, for example. Great design is fantastic. You cannot just find a flaw in the design. Looks beautiful. They take care of every edges, every corner, right? Delivery is fantastic, because if you go to Apple stores across the world from Japan to US, you would find the delivery, the way that the product gets delivered to you, the way that people talk to you is fantastic, right? So you create a role model there. If you're doing chartered accountancy practice, for example, you would want to do internal auditing, right? We had for some short of time, and the role models keep changing because your goals keep changing in life, right? So during my college times, there is still a famous firm called Aneja and Associates, which does internal auditing, right? And Naren Aneja at that point in time for me was, oh wow, he's running internal auditing compared to the Big Four. So I said, wow, so that is my first milestone. Can I look at a firm where you can establish a great internal auditing firm, right? So I carried Mr. Aneja, and incidentally, I started to become friends with him after 2 years, because I was a part of the Institute of Internal Auditors and so on and so forth, and work very, very closely with him. So you try and create milestones, and where you try and see if you can create role models, try and accomplish that. And then if you want to achieve something higher, you change your gears and you change it, look at different milestone leaders. So I think in everything, I do a lot of work around cybersecurity. I've got somebody there that, this is what we should do. I've got even companies as my milestones or my mentors. I would look at a company which is delivering something in that order to figure out, hey, you know what, McKinsey is my milestone. If you want to create a very good consulting company, right? you should look at the website of McKinsey. Website of McKinsey is only case studies. Just log on and check.
Only
It's
case
only case studies, right?
Hmm.
Well, that's what a consulting company needs, right?
Correct.
So if I were to make a cracking of a consulting company, then we should put only case studies, talk about it, talk about the future, and that would become one of the best websites that you would want to do if you're doing high-end consulting or consulting services. So I'm saying, incidentally or unfortunately, I did not have any single person catching my hand and saying go left, go right, go straight. But I think I was able to visualize role models and maybe derive mentorship from such role models. I think, and it's very easy to do actually for all of us. But we need to be self-driven. That's the only challenge.
True, sir. True. We need to be self-driven. We need to create role models. If we don't have mentors, we could also seek mentors in other people. Now, coming
Absolutely.
back to the topic for the today, that is, we are talking about future of chartered accountants. Let's touch upon.
So before we go to future, I don't know if there are any young chartered accountants here. If you want to seek mentorship, or if you want to become a cracking of a person in the future, try and look out for a job for 2 years as executive assistant to a CEO,
Hmm.
right? If there are any young chartered accountants, people don't even understand that role. People think that it is a secretary ka role or a private assistant ka role. No, executive assistant to a CEO, any level of company, 50 crore, 100 crores, try and do that job for 1 year. You will learn so much from that person because now you're dabbling into just about every aspect of an organization: strategy, productization, delivery, a lot of things, right? And you quickly learn from there. So that is a shortcut to look at the bigger picture in life. Anyway, next question.
Yes, sir. So the question was future for practice. How do you see that? Future for tax compliance, would it be audits, bank audits, internal audits, systems audit, anything together? But what is your viewpoint or what is your opinion on how will this turn out to be?
So it's not as simple a question that you asked, what is the future of practice? The first thing is, let's look at fundamentally what we do as chartered accountants. We go to office every day in the morning, and if you're running our standard practice, we would do some amount of GST work. We would do some amount of income tax work. We would do some amount of statutory audit work. We would do some amount of maybe concurrent audit work. Now let's drill down a little deeper in all of this work, right? Let me first talk about statutory audits. Now, statutory audits में आप करते क्या हो? आप जाके ledger account scrutiny करते हो, and then after you do the ledger account scrutiny, you find out some transactions are not right, whatever, some are outstanding, and then you will deep dive and go to invoices, and then you will deep dive and go to contracts. Are they valid, not valid? 6 महीने से outstanding है, वगैरह.
You'll reconcile the ledger balances, whether they are
Reconcile the ledger balances, come back and saying that भाई इसके तो हमको contract ही नहीं दिख रहे हैं, ये किधर से आ गए, इसके तो invoice ही नहीं दिख रहे हैं, तो छोटी firm होगी तो किसके drawer में होगा, तो निकाल देगा बेचारा, या whatever, right?
Exactly.
So I'm not trying to demean the work. What I'm trying to say is that audit is a serious business, by the way.
Yeah.
As you look at it today, as you look at what is happening with the government, and incidentally, now I've been appointed to the appellate tribunal by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So there are a lot of cases which come to us. And interestingly, sometimes the basics are not done. काम मैंने बहुत अच्छा कर दिया, audit मैंने बहुत अच्छा कर दिया. Small basic things, some chartered accountant, appointment letter नहीं होगा उसके पास, for example. But वो auditor है. Audit अच्छा कर रहा है, कोई problem नहीं है. But appointment letter ही नहीं है. Right. So anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, first, audit is becoming a very serious business, very serious profession. I wouldn't want to classify it business, but very serious profession. And anybody who is looking at audit services slowly and slowly will become like a surgeon, right?
like
a surgeon.
Surgeon.
Because audit is becoming such a serious business that you cannot even miss one auditing standard or one accounting standard in the future. Something goes wrong, you are hauled up, and you will be called to the courts, right? And if you're doing listed entities, public listed entities, you would have that challenge coming up any point in time to you. And that is why the government is also looking at you, because they are trying to figure out what is it that would make you responsible for every action item. And I and Nilesh Bhai, I had said this in a lot of my conferences. I and Nilesh Bhai had actually gone to meet the past SEBI chairman. Now he's not the SEBI chairman. I forgot his name. NIAS officer. And when we sat across the table, he said, what is, we give true and fair as an opinion. He said, what is true and fair? I want true and correct. We have never been taught true and correct. Has anybody learned true and correct? No.
No.
What does correct mean? Every transaction has to be correct. Correct. He's saying why? Because technology is going to enable it to do us. He's saying all transactions can be looked at. You can do data mining. You can do this, that, data analytics. He said, you should be able to not come and give me an opinion. You should be able to give me an affirmation that bhai sab kuch right hai. Right? So that is the level at which the governments are thinking. They want to, I don't know how to put this. They want to put the responsibility on somebody. Unfortunately, I keep telling all my friends, chartered accountants, that आपको 1% भी नहीं मिलता है कभी-कभी turnover का, but you take responsibility for the entire organization. Correct? So this is very, very serious, and it will keep becoming serious. So anybody who's doing statutory audit should become good and should try and develop a practice around it. It will become a good practice. Hopefully, you will be paid better in the future because the liability is higher. Right?
Correct.
And it would come up after maybe 3 or 4 years. If you're a statutory auditor, you will end up paying, you would have to be paid well because nobody would want to take responsibility. So जो demand supply का gap है वो कम हो जाएगा या ज़्यादा हो जाएगा, whatever. अगर आपको ज़्यादा पैसा दे रहा है तो आप करोगे, नहीं दे रहा है तो आप धीरे-धीरे वैसे ही कम हो जाएंगे chartered accountant उसमें. Correct? So if you were to deep dive in all of this audit, now let me come to GST. Everything is electronic. 30 crore के ऊपर कंपनी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इनवॉइस बना रही है, आप अभी डेट भी चेंज नहीं कर सकते हो, पास्ट नहीं कर सकते हो, प्रेजेंट नहीं कर सकते हो. All that smartness that we used to use to help a client to maybe set sometimes the date right, sometimes the number right, sometimes the balance sheet right, is not at all there, right? So that smart quotient of what we used to do as chartered accountant is not there. So what are you left with? You're left with only numbers. And if you're left with only numbers which your accounting solution is producing, then the accounting solution will do it tomorrow.
Exactly.
Because there is no need for smartness there, right? So what I'm trying to impress upon all of us here is that it is not because Anil Bhandari is saying it or Nishchit has given a smart presentation. It is by nature that these transactions would become simpler. And it is by nature that technology would take it over because the technology has the ability to take it over. And technology can work harder than us 24/7. You showed a nice robo there. Technology can work harder than us, right? They can work 48 hours, 72, 8 hours, 100 hours, 360, 60 days, whatever. We can't do that, right? So one has to understand fundamentally where we are going. All chartered accountants have to understand. तो ये बोलते हैं ना, there are a lot of chartered accountants come back and say नहीं यार आप लोग इतना बोलते हो लेकिन यार ये तो कॉन्करेंट ऑडिट तो रहने ही वाला है, बैंक ऑडिट तो रहने ही वाला है, स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट किधर जाने वाला है, कर रहे थे हम 50 साल से 100 साल से तो अभी रहने ही वाले हैं. तो वैसा नहीं होता है. I mean, eventually there is a curve which makes you get into a different notion. So lots would change if you ask me in the immediate future. Looking at statutory audit, looking at GST, looking at income tax, whatever processes are made simple are likely to get not eradicated, but are likely to come down in value for all of us as chartered accountants, which means we are forced to now think, what is it that we can do outside these areas of work. If you are serious, you continue to do statutory audit, you need to go deeper in there. If you're serious, if you're doing GST, you need to go really deeper into GST, right? Otherwise, the routine GST practice or the routine statutory audit practice or the routine bank audit practice is not likely to be there, or they would be brought down in value so much that you would not have a practice left. For sure, you would not have left. That gets you to the larger question, what you asked me, what should one practice in this near future? And for that, I think you would need to look at how business models are changing. In one of my conferences in the Thane study circle or the branch we had, I spoke about business models, 3 business models which are emerging. तो अगर आपको सोचना है कि आपको क्या प्रैक्टिस करना है, तो आपको पहले देखना पड़ेगा कि what are the business models which are emerging so that you can align your practice with them. That is what the Big Fours do. That is what McKinsey's do. They align with something which is coming new to offer it a little early. आप में से कोई GST करता है इधर? आप करते हो, निश्चित?
हाँ.
Had you done this even before GST was coming out, you would have made more money.
Correct.
Correct? You would have made more money to tell a company कि ये भी हो सकता है और ये भी हो सकता है. अगर आपने रिपोर्ट दी होती ना दोनों साइड की, तो भी कंपनी लेके आपको पैसा देती. Because you have entered a little late, then what have you left? You're left with maybe filing returns.
Correct.
So now what I'm trying to say is, if you are asking me an 80,000 feet question, that what should one look at our practice or different areas of work for chartered accountants, you have to look at new business models which are emerging. And the new business models which are emerging are outcome-based model. The second model is hyper-personalization. And the third model is access versus ownership. So if I were to look at the first model, outcome-based model, every business in the world is becoming outcome-based business. And even our profession as chartered accountant will become outcome-based business. You understand what is outcome-based business?
Based on what outcome you produce.
Outcome is important.
Yes.
Right? So I don't know if somebody is doing project finance in this room today. What is the project finance ka rule? Project finance ka rule is ki I got you something. I got you funding. Funding is what? Outcome. What you did, how you did, what reports you made doesn't matter. Outcome is funding. Because you're able to get funding, your fee income is also more because people are looking at the outcome. So I'm giving you a simple example. Now let me talk about complex industries which are coming in. Today, people are buying a Tesla not because it's only electronic. People are buying Tesla because it engages with you, right? The car is able to engage with you. The car is able to drive by itself. The car is able to save power for you. A lot of things. So similarly, healthcare, all of that is going to become an outcome-based business. People are going to look at banks are going to be more outcome-based, not just to keep your money, right? And more outcome-based, more and more business comes on those models. So a chartered accountant has to align its services based on the new business models which are likely to come. You know what is hyper-personalization? Hyper-personalization means, I give an interesting example. Industry 4.0, industry manufacturing tech 4.0, whatever it's called, is going to be very interesting in the next 10 years. ये जो दिन आया, it is going to be a revolution again. अब तो tech revolution आया था, manufacturing revolution आएगा. Manufacturing revolution कैसे आएगा? कि निश्चित का एक brand है मीरा रोड में, you know, everybody knows you. So tomorrow you decide कि यार मुझे मेरे नाम की कार manufacturing करनी है. आज कर सकते हो आप? आज कर सकते हो आप? नहीं कर सकते हो आप. But आपकी ब्रांड है, 10 लोग तो खरीद ही लेंगे यार. योगेश खरीद लेगा, श्वेता खरीद लेगी, 10 लोग तो खरीद ही लेंगे. ठीक है.
हाँ,
तो अब 10 ही कार मैंने, है ना, तो 10 ही कार खरीदनी है, समझ लो 10 ही मैन्युफैक्चर करनी है. 10 मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करने के लिए आप प्लांट तो डाल नहीं सकते हैं. करेक्ट. So what is likely to happen in the future is there are car manufacturing plants all across the world, right? These car manufacturing plants are all automated. From a handle to a door to a style to a color, it all comes manufactured, right? And these are all connected to IoT OT devices. And the IoT OT devices get connected to APIs, and the APIs get you on a screen, like in Amazon. तो मैं जाऊंगा, निश्चित जाएगा, सर्च करेगा Amazon पे, ये कार मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी खाली कौन सी है, right? Sorry, I think my father has come, so I better open up the case for him. So this car manufacturing company could be anywhere across in the world. Now you would have 20 factories in China, you would have 20 factories in US, and you may have some factories in Korea. Now you will go and look out and say, यार मुझे तो कार 10 दिन में चाहिए, boss. So there would be some factory shop which may have opened up some lines which may be available 10 days or 20 days or 30 days later, right? You choose the color, the car that you wanted. You choose the logo on the car, how you want to put it. You choose कि एक कार का इंजन क्या होगा, आपको उसमें पेट्रोल चाहिए, डीजल चाहिए, या आपको उसमें बैटरीज चाहिए. You choose all of that. Press the button, go. It will talk to an API. The API will talk to the IoT OT machines. What will the IoT OT machines look at first? They look at कि paint में आपने जो color मांगा है वो paint shop में है कि नहीं है, आपने जो door मांगे हैं वो door हमारे पास में die है कि नहीं है, आपने जो handle मांगे हैं वो है कि नहीं है. It will make a call to the vendors. Whose vendors? The car manufacturing factory के vendors. It'll say, I want a color of this shade. Tuck delivered in the next 10 days for you. I want the die for a door to look like this. Delivered 15 days from now, right? It will collate everything and tell you your car delivery date is say 30th of May. And when you press the button, pay the money on a credit card, the card gets delivered through the shipping lines and it comes on the port and you're able to sell it. I'm telling you, this is going to be the future of manufacturing. मैंने थोड़ा सा difficult example ले लिया कार का, but I'm saying all the simple examples would be much easier to do. This is called hyper personalization. If you go to Nike ka store abroad, Nike will make a shoes customized for you the way you like it. That's hyper personalization again, right? And even, for example, the Zomatos of the world and all of them will start doing hyper personalization. They'll start delivering what you like. Maybe you like Chinese and a Korean mix tomorrow. They will try and do something like this for you. And the third is access versus ownership. Access versus ownership is nobody wants to own a factory. Nobody wants to own a factory. People want to use a factory, right? That is why the cloud business has come in, that people want to use it. In fact, today's world, young guys, they don't even want to buy houses. They just want to use a house. Why stay in the same house for 20 years? ये हमारा फंडा था, हमारे forefathers का फंडा था कि घर लो, घर में रहो. नहीं, पैसा है मेरे पास में, मैं चार घर चेंज करूंगा. I was staying in Thane, I was staying in Mira Road, I will come back. I might go to Andheri. I don't like Andheri now, it's too crowded. I might go to Churchgate because Churchgate is less crowded nowadays. Lower Parel is more crowded. B Road is less crowded, so on and so forth, right? So we need to understand these three emerging models. All our friends can do research on the internet and align what are the new things which are coming around these three models.
Wonderful. Okay, so great. This brings us to the end of the first section. I hope everyone had an exciting time so far. What will happen next is we'll take a short break, a quick break. My co-host Yogesh Bhandari will take over in this break. He will ask the audience a few questions and he will also give you some opportunity so that you can interact with our guests. Okay, I'm handing it over to Yogesh Bhandari. Hello, this is CA Nishchit Shetty and I'm on a mission to empower chartered accountants.
This is CA Siddharth Dwivedi, and I am also on a mission to empower chartered accountants. Majorities of CAs are expert when it comes to technical knowledge, but they are navy in building a better scalable practice, getting a better job, and to sum up, they are networked poorly. The richest people in the world look for and build networks. Everyone else look for work. Marinate on that for a minute.
Technology is gradually replacing human intervention. Competition from other professionals has been a perennial challenge and will continue to be so in the areas other than audit. Merger of the large public sector banks and the reduction in the number of branches, increase in the limit of tax audits are all the point to be taken note of. Now, let us engage in a conversation that gives a different kind of access to our individual practice. The question to ask here is, I can certainly see myself as an individual practicing chartered accountant, but is there any other way I can see myself as? This is about radically expanding the opportunity of our practice if you look beyond practicing as an individual. Think about what if this group can become the part of your social structure. Networking is an investment in your business. It takes time, and when done correctly, can yield results for the years to come. So how do we start? You are already the part of it. You are already a part of it if you have ever thought about becoming a big firm. You are already a part of it if you are working upon scaling your practice. You are already a part of it if you have ever thought of building a specialized skill. You are already a part of it if you have ever worked or shared fees with any other member. You are already a part of it if you have now been improving your networking skills. So let's participate more and begin networking with other chartered accountants because you are already a part of it. As Portal Gale has better put it, your network is your net worth.
Are we through, guys? Yeah, great. So we have Priyanka, Rahman, Bhamani, Ravi, SD, and Kunal in the house. Thanks a lot for participating. For others, they can do it quickly and we can proceed for the next part. Okay, so we will proceed with the participants who have participated. Nishchit, can you go to the next slide? So you just type in one area of practice in which you believe that you are most skilled. Any area that you feel that you are most skilled, you just type in that area. Come on, everyone. I guess some members are finding difficulties. Their answers are not getting reflected, is what I'm getting message. Great. So there are people who are into audit, direct taxation, and consulting advisory. Great. So we can move on to the next question. Oh, there are still more responses we are receiving. Great. Audit and taxation, direct taxes. So all the areas that we can look is around audit, taxation, consulting, advisory. Great. Virtual CFO. Okay. Some new area has also been mentioned. Can we move on to the next question, Nishchit? So what makes you proud being a chartered accountant? Please mention any of the three out of the list mentioned here. Oh, great. Abundance of technology knowledge is the reason why people feel that they are most proud of. Okay, respect in the society, ethical practice, and okay, respect in the society has. Okay. Great participation, guys. Nice. Okay, so I guess abundance of technology, technical knowledge is something that has, people are proud of being a chartered accountant. Great.
Anil wants to add something. He was saying something.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're telling me?
Yes, sir. He wants to say something. We're adding something in this.
Tough academics is only 25%. That means everybody thinks that passing C exams are very easy here.
Actually, no one is proud of having a tough academics. It's easy after you achieve it, so maybe because of that.
So see, now this brings to light the fact that just by giving tough academics does not mean, the outcome is the best. Correct? Sometimes.
Correct.
So the institute has to think through that I want to make academics simpler, not a question of being tough or not. Tough, everything is tough in life. Simpler, but making the outcome very good for students. going forward. Otherwise, क्या होगा? Nobody would want to take the course because if it is so tough and I waste my entire life doing it, I better not do it, यार.
True.
मैं तो फूड डिलीवरी करके भी तो बिलियनर बन जाता है आदमी. तो क्यों मैं अपनी जिंदगी खराब करूंगा, right? So the discussion that sometimes that I have on the table is, why don't we, I'm not saying don't make it not tough, but I'm saying why don't we make it simple for people to learn and articulate, and they're able to do it in the way that we want the outcome of the chartered accountant. Why are we worried about उसने कितना पढ़ के आया आज सुबह हो? Anyway, right.
Okay, thanks for the input. Nishchit, can we move on to the next question? Yeah, will the autonomy of ICAI be affected by CA Amendment Bill 2021? What is your opinion, personal opinion? You can mention it on the screen. So there are no. So a lot of people has an opinion of. So yes has taken a pound now. Okay. So 8 people have participated now. So out of 8 people, maximum people feel that it's not going to get affected. It's going to get affected after the amendment.
No, that's not true. People didn't understand that. I must tell you. First is 80-90% of the suggestions were given by the institute only to decrease from 3 years consecutive terms to 4 years consecutive term. We only suggested and debated in the table in the first term that I went in the first meeting, Why? Because we said कि यार 9 साल 3 बार election कौन fight करेगा boss, right? Because time, energy, money, number one. So let us make it 4 + 4 years, and let us make it 8 years, consecutive 8 years, because let the fresh blood come in. So that was number one. Number two, जो ये disciplinary mechanism बोल रहे हैं, already government के nominee ज़्यादा है हमारे nominee से, right? एक ज़्यादा आने से कोई फर्क नहीं गिरने वाला है. Number one. Number two, आज तक ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ है कि हमने एक डिसीजन दिया है और गवर्नमेंट नॉमिनी उसके अगर अगेंस्ट है और हमने वो डिसीजन को किया है. ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ है आज तक.
ओके,
करेक्ट. तो जब अगर प्रैक्टिकली ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ है, अगर आप अगर गवर्नमेंट नॉमिनी हो, आपने बोल दिया नहीं बॉस ये मेंबर तो गिल्टी है और हमने बोला नहीं नॉट गिल्टी, ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ है. सो इट डजंट मैटर एक एक्स्ट्रा आ जाएगा तो, बिकॉज प्रैक्टिकली नहीं हुआ इतने साल में, 70 साल में, तो क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है. द ओनली डिफरेंस दैट दिस बिल हैज गॉट आउट इज दैट द चेयरमैन विल बी अ नॉन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट because they wanted to give a freshness, they wanted to maintain the balance, right? So our contention was कि शायद हो सकता है चेयरमैन को टेक्निकलिटी समझ में ना आवे, and chairman is an important aspect, तो आर्गुमेंट में चले जाएगा वो. तो बट गवर्नमेंट फिर भी सोच रही है कि नहीं, some people thought कि नहीं चेयरमैन, वैसे ही जब हम गवर्नमेंट के नॉमिनीज के डिसीजन को अगर हम अपहोल्ड कर ही रहे हैं तो क्या फर्क पड़ेगा चेयरमैन अगर प्रेसिडेंट हो जाएगा तो. दैट वाज द क्वेश्चन मार्क. बट गवर्नमेंट थॉट नो. वो कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, to show is also important. So government wants to believe that if we show it to public that non-chartered accountant as chairman is better, in fact it is okay. How does it matter to us? It is okay because we have anyway not changed the decision. So autonomy में कोई फर्क नहीं गिरने वाला है. The president is not supposed to be the chief executive officer. He is actually not a chief executive officer. He is the head of council only. In reality, वो क्यों साइन करेगा चेक को यार? हमारा सेक्रेटरी साइन करेगा, CEO साइन करेगा. So जो बिल अभी आया है, आई थिंक पीपल हैव नॉट अंडरस्टूड दिस वेरी अप्रोप्रिएटली. यस, ये बिल में एक सडनली एक सजेशन आ गया स्टैंडिंग काउंसिल का कि एक इंस्टीट्यूट इंडियन अकाउंटिंग होना चाहिए, कंपटीशन होना चाहिए. वर्ल्ड में ऐसा ही है, खाली लंदन में ऐसा है टू द बेस्ट ऑफ माई नॉलेज. आई डोंट थिंक यूएस में CPA को छोड़ के ऐसा है, या कनाडा में भी ऐसा है, या आई थिंक जापान में भी ऐसा है. खाली लंदन में आई थिंक देयर आर 2 इंस्टीट्यूट्स, ACCA and England and Wales. I'm slightly not aware about some other institutes. So there is only competition there. If the government believes that by creating competition, it will only create accountants, so don't worry, वो इतना simple नहीं है. और अगर करना है तो करने दो. We have come through 70 years of course curriculum. We will change the course curriculum of our people to make it far better. We are richer as an organization. We can spend 500 crores on our members and students to make them better. So I'm saying, let us not worry about these small things. What we should be worried about is, are we able to do better jobs? Are we able to do something which is interesting on a daily basis? Is my institute able to support that? I think that is more important for us.
Okay. Before proceeding to the next section, let us just, sir, we have a separate section where you can ask questions, sir. I will let you in whenever that section comes. Before proceeding to the next section, there is last question that we can address. Nishchit, move on to the next section. Can CA still thrive after institute like IIA and such institute come? What do you feel like? You can give your opinion. Participants, okay. CAs can still thrive. Most of the people are optimistic about it. And for many people, it does not make any difference. Some of them are neutral and some of them are pessimistic. Okay. Okay. Nice. One more last question, because this thing was discussed in the previous section of interview. Nishchit, can you move on to the last question of this part? In the era of digital business, which model do you think suits best for your practice? So, like Anil sir has discussed 3 models in the previous section. Which practice suits, like which model suits your practice? You just mention. So hyper personalization is what people feel that they are providing. Come on, I need more participation. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Outcome-based model. Many people feel that access versus ownership.
So the CFO virtual practice is access versus ownership. You don't have to own a CFO, but you want to take his services. Everybody should understand the world would move towards access versus ownership. Means मुझे ये permanent function नहीं करना है office में. I would want to get that function out. Supply chain management, program management, CFO services, financial controller services, MIS services for sure. Accounting services already happens. A lot of people do that. If you're able to convert each of the ones that I'm talking about and convert them into product, your access versus ownership model will also start flying very high, and then convert it into a hyper personalized model, which means मैं बहुत ही hyper personalized service दूं एक company को, which means you have account managers, which means you have to have people who are managing 2 accounts each, 3 accounts each. Give a call to them in the morning, sir, are you happy, or is everything okay? Can I do something specifically for you? If you convert these services into products, your eventually the outcome and the happiness quotient of the customers would be very high. So they are all intertwined. But I think one should quickly start looking at it. Do a Google on World Economic Forum report, and you will get a better idea of it.
Okay. Okay, great. Now I will hand over to Nishchit for the next part of this session. Nishchit, handing over to you.
Thank you so much, Yogesh. Just a second. Okay, so we will move on to the next part. Okay, so this is a part where we will discuss something about the chartered accountant in service. So we've spoken a lot about chartered accountants in practice. How do they see their future? But what are the skill sets that maybe a chartered accountant in practice should start acquiring? There are a lot of young members here, and also considering the fact that old members cannot change that easily, and also they are concerned about their future. How do you see, sir, services being delivered by chartered accountants to industries?
In industry, you mean people who are working in the offices in the industry? I think see 70% of our members should actually work in industry, yeah. Right? That is moda. I think around 70% work in industry. And historically, we have always been targeting accounting, finance department, tax department, and so on and so forth. Right? I call it as back office. If you would have heard me in some conferences, a company is divided into front office, middle office, and back office. And this is back office. We were very good, and we're still good in accounting, financial services, all of that. We should take away our mind from there, and we should shift our gears to front office, which means we should look at product management, devising new products, strategy management for the product. I'm not talking about strategy for the company as yet, right? Strategizing for the product, giving it in the right segments, right? innovating new products for the organization. Why innovating? Because as chartered accountants, we understand the business a little better on the ground. हमने audit किया manufacturing company का, हमने audit किया trading company का, हमने audit किया bank का. So when we get that experience, we are able to be on the ground, innovate new products for either a Hindustan Liver kind of a company, or for a banking kind of a company, or for an insurance kind of a company, or even for a telecommunication kind of a company. Now, you should also remember that all of these companies are converging somewhere, right? Jio Telecom wants to sell OTT platform also, it wants to sell financial product also, it wants to deliver food also to you. So अब ये सब intertwined हो गया है in a platform. So it doesn't matter. तो ऐसा कुछ बचा ही नहीं है कि we are well suited for a financial services organization. हमको पहले क्या लगता था, because हमने FM पढ़ा है तो financial management वगैरह वगैरह, तो हमको सबको asset managers बनना है, हमको सबको fund manager बनना है, हमको सबको stock market में जाना है, that we are well suited for that kind of an industry. No, we are not necessarily well suited for that kind of, we are well suited for every kind of organization. So I think we should start changing gears, and I see this happening now. I will give you the example what I've given to others as well. The CEO of ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund came up to me one day and said कि हम लोग चाहते हैं हायर करने के लिए, आपके यहाँ पे एक भी चार्टर्ड नहीं मिलते. हमने बोला यार बहुत चार्टर्ड है हमारे पास, राइट? आप लोग तो एक को भी नहीं लेके जाते हो. तो बोलते हैं मैंने बोला आपका जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन क्या था? तो बोला मुझे मार्केटिंग चाहिए थे. तो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट मार्केटिंग दिखता है ना, भाग जाता है पहले तो. Even in my company also I ask for chartered accountants who understand, who would like to do marketing. आते ही नहीं है. It's a fantastic opportunity, boss. Right? Understanding a product, delivering it, getting targets sold, explaining to a customer, large B2B customer. Forget about B2C, चलो यार नहीं करना आपको B2C. घर घर पे जाके आपको क्रेडिट कार्ड थोड़ी ना बेचना है हमको. ठीक है, आपको घर घर पे जाके क्रेडिट कार्ड नहीं बेचना है, बट आपको क्रेडिट कार्ड का टाइप करना है B2B में जाके. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल आप फ्यूचर के साथ में जाके टाइप कर लो. All of those functions chartered accountants can do very well here. So these are some functions that we have historically never looked at, right? And I think we have a fantastic opportunity to go across some new age functions. Product management is a fantastic function. Take up a product, either a financial product or a real product in life, and manage that product, evaluate it, think through it. You know, IIMs में, अहमदाबाद में और बैंगलोर में सबसे ज्यादा रट रेस जॉब के लिए किसके लिए लगती है? प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट के लिए लगता है यार, राइट? और वो तो इंजीनियर्स हैं, उनको तो प्रोडक्ट समझ में भी नहीं आता है. उनको प्रोडक्ट टेक्नोलॉजी, प्रोडक्ट सॉफ्टवेयर बनाना समझ में आता है, बट उनको प्रोडक्ट ग्राउंड की तो समझ में आता है अभी तक, बट उनको फिर भी कंपनियां लेती है. तो व्हाट इज अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट मिसिंग? आई थिंक नथिंग यार. वी हैव सिंपली नॉट वॉक्ड इन दैट डायरेक्शन. वी हैव सिंपली नॉट पुट आवरसेल्व्स इन दैट डायरेक्शन. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for chartered accountants in business. Fantastic opportunity in industry. Yeah.
Correct. Also, in one of your sessions, you had mentioned that the future of job reports 2018, the top 10 job roles that will be emerging is data analysts and data scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, general and operational managers, software application developers, sales and marketing professionals being there on the top 10. Big data specialist, data transformation specialist.
अब मैं आपको एक चीज रोकना चाहता हूँ. Now data analyst and data scientist. अब ये वर्ड सुन के पहले तो हमको ऐसा लगता है कि यार ये तो टेक्नोलॉजी वाले ही कर सकते हैं, हम क्या करेंगे इसमें?
करेक्ट.
डेटा समझ में किसको आता है यार? हमको आता है. डेटा क्या होता है? डेटा आज समझ लो जोमैटो है. जोमैटो में you want to become you are a data analyst. What will the data analyst do in Zomato? Tell me. Would you understand something?
So which geographical location can give more output? What
Absolutely.
is the
what is the geography which is giving more output? Which is the geography which is giving? Which is the geography within a city which is giving? Which is the pin code within a city which is giving? What kind of people are eating more food? Which age group is eating what? Who's eating Chinese more than Japanese? Blah blah blah. Wagera wagera wagera. That comes to our mind very quickly, right?
Correct.
Right? How many times is a repeat order coming in for a person? Why is it coming? Is he married? Not married? We know the outcome of what we want. If you know the outcome of what you want, that means you're very powerful because you exactly know what you want out of that. Because that is what you're going to translate back into business.
Correct.
तो आपको क्या नहीं आता है? आपको शायद वो पाइथन का कोड लिखना नहीं आता है जो डेटा को जाके सर्च करेगा. मैं तो पहले बोलता था कि यार कोडिंग मत सीखो. मैं आज बोलता हूँ कोडिंग सीख लो यार. पाइथन डिफिकल्ट है क्या? लॉजिकल है ना. इट्स अ स्पोकन इंग्लिश. So software making in the future will become more and more spoken English, right? I want a screen, I want a user ID का login. It'll become more spoken English. आप English लिखोगे code बन जाएगा. But anyway, let us wait for those 5 years to come. Even today, थोड़ा Python सीख लो. अच्छा चलो आपने नहीं सीखा, कोई बात नहीं है. You understand the outcome. You learn a little bit about data analytics conceptually. You will get a role in data analytics, and you can tell an engineer what to do for some time. And you will learn the nuances of data analytics going forward. So it's a fantastic opportunity for chartered accountants. So please go and take that and grab it, because it's a fantastic market. All the engineers will come and grab it. They have to learn business. They know coding. You have to understand a little bit about coding. You know business. So, so let us take away that from our mind. And let us start acquiring those positions in the organization. I have recently had a chartered accountant just to look at product management and data analytics of that product management. And he, in just 2 months, has understood what product it is. Why? Because बहुत simple है उसके लिए समझना. He is able to relate to it much faster. Engineer को मेरे को 1 साल लगाते हैं समझने को, समझाने को कि भाई मेरे को चाहिए क्या. फिर शायद वो बना देता है. Something like that.
So what you're trying to say here is, what I understood from the whole conversation, is that we are better placed, but we are not taking actions over.
We are not taking it because हमको माँ बाप ने कभी बताया नहीं, हमको दोस्तों ने कभी बताया नहीं, हमको हमारे कभी हमारे जो आर्टिकल के जो मतलब हमारे जो प्रिंसिपल्स होते हैं उन्होंने कभी बताया नहीं, बिकॉज उन्होंने कभी सोचा नहीं, तो बताया नहीं, सोचा नहीं, किया नहीं, तो हमको भी पता नहीं. वो डेटा एनालिटिक्स आता है तो हम देखते ही नहीं उसको, नीचे चले जाते हैं. Something like.
Also, the top 10 declining, since the audience are here, we will talk about both the aspects. Top 10 declining roles by the report was data entry clerks, accounting, bookkeeping and payroll clerks, administrative and executive secretaries, assembly and factory workers, client information and customer service workers, business services and administration managers, accountants, auditors, material recording and stock keeping clerks, general and operational managers, postal service clerks. These were.
चलो अच्छा, मैं तो अच्छा चलो मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि accounting auditing will go down. चलो कोई दूसरी रिपोर्ट बोल रही है, अच्छा है.
A lot of
मेंबर्स
people
ने बोला,
Indian context में one.
इसलिए मेंबर्स ने बोला अनिल भंडारी नहीं चाहिए यार, अकाउंटिंग ऑडिटिंग को बंद कर देगा, करेंगे क्या हम लोग यार. हाँ, so see, it is written over the wall. I think everywhere. You read any report today. I don't know which one you're reading. Any report coming from well-placed sources. It's a fact. I was trying to tell you ना कि आप खुद अगर देखोगे उसको, तो आपको realize होगा कि technology will take it over यार. तो आप क्या कर सकते हो? You can actually contribute to killing accounting here. As a chartered accountant, can you contribute? If you'd like to contribute, come and join me here. अगर कोई मारने वाला है तो हम मार देते हैं, क्योंकि अगर हम मारेंगे तो उसको बेटर मारेंगे ना, because हम नए अवतार में उसको पैदा करेंगे वापस. See, as a council member, if I was thinking that auditing and accounting is going down, not because I want to take it away from you, because I want to improvise it and getting in a better avatar to you.
Also, that brings me to the next question, which I have heard from your previous session only. I think it's very relevant to the audience here. The 4 things to remember that you gave in your last session. The 4 things were, I will repeat again. This kill your practice, give it to the next person with you. Second was think services. Third was automate and productize. Fourth is learn to sell. These were the 4 key takeaways that you gave in your previous session. I think it is very relevant now, since we've understood for so long in the session today. But the first thing that you asked me, if you are ready to kill it. Sir, a lot of people will have this in their mind. How can we kill something that we have been working upon for so long and developed our skills upon? How and why?
Will kill it, yeah. Somebody else will kill it. See, if I don't improvise my institute, somebody else will kill it. You have to improvise it. You have to kill what is available. By killing maybe a wrong word, a very strong word. But chalo, kam se kam hit to hota hai na killing. So that's why I'm using a strong word. So you kill something to improvise it and get it in a better avatar, so that you're able to do better and you're able to take more money also. आपको पता है ये पहले सॉफ्टवेयर बनते थे जो आपके ऑफिस में डिप्लॉय होता था. माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का एग्जांपल देता हूँ, सबको पता है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट. आप कितना पैसा देते थे माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का ऑफिस का?
पहले
हाँ, पहले मतलब माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ऑफिस अगर बाई करना है अपने को, तो कितना पैसा लगता था मार्केट में? 16,000, 17,000, 20,000 रुपया लगता था
Yes, yes.
पैकेज लेने का। आपने इंस्टॉल कर दिया, अब आप उसको 5 साल यूज करते थे सॉफ्टवेयर को,
Hmm.
ठीक है, 5 साल यूज करते थे, कुछ एएमसी होता देते थे, नहीं तो फिर नया पैकेट आता था आपको। तो आप 16,000 रुपए का माल 5 साल यूज कर सकते रहे थे। माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने क्या बोला कि साला बिंदास यूज करें तो पब्लिक को, फिर मैं पीछे जाके लाइसेंस मारूंगा, डरा के लाइसेंस लेकर पैसा लेके जाऊंगा। अब आया एक्सेस वर्सेस ओनरशिप का जमाना।
Hmm.
तो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने बोला कि मैं आपको ओन नहीं करने दूंगा, मैं आपको एक्सेस करने दूंगा।
Correct.
तो पहले तो आप माइक्रोसॉफ्ट यूज कर रहे हो, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट अपना इन प्रीमाइस बंद कर रहा है, क्लाउड पे लेके जा रहा है। तो अभी जब क्लाउड पे लेके जा रहा है तो बहुत कंपनी आ गई, गूगल भी आ गया, ज़ो भी आ गया, बहुत सारी कंपनी आ गई। तो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का बिजनेस कैनिबलाइज हो रहा है। आप तो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट यूज कर रहे थे, बट अभी नाउ इफ आई स्टॉप गिविंग यू माइक्रोसॉफ्ट EXE, कैनिबलाइज हो रहा है उसका बिजनेस, क्योंकि दूसरा कंपटीशन भी आ गया। तो
Hmm.
माइक्रोसॉफ्ट में आई एम श्योर होंगे आदमी लोग जो बोल रहे होंगे भाई साहब ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हो यार, हमारा तो 80% वर्ल्ड चल रहा है, EXE पे चलने दो उसको, सब पब्लिक हमारा यूज कर रहा है, 5 साल खुश है उन लोग, यूज करने दो उसको, राइट। बट आप जस्ट इमेजिन करो कि जब ये SaaS पे आया, धीरे धीरे क्लाउड पे आया, तो अभी आपको पता है साल भर का पैसा कितना है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट O365 का, एक साल का पैसा पहले आपसे लेता है खाली 5-6 हजार रुपया फर्स्ट ईयर में। तो आपको वो पहले तो खून लगा रहा है कि यार 7,000 रुपये में मिल रहा है, ले लूं। क्यों
सस्ता.
7,000 में आप खून लगा रहा है? क्योंकि 16,000 आप 5 साल के लिए दे रहे थे, तो वो 5-6 हजार पे लेके आ गया। दूसरे साल वो सीधा आपसे 17,000 रुपया मांगता है। तो अभी आप इसकी मैक्स करो, 17,000 रुपये में आप उसको 5 साल यूज कर रहे थे, ये 17,000 रुपये में आप उसको खाली साल भर का पैसा देते। 5 साल में कितना कमा रहा है वो? ऑलमोस्ट लाख रुपए के आसपास कमा रहा है वो।
Correct.
करेक्ट। बट वो बोल रहा है कि मैं आपका कभी भी अपडेटेड रखूंगा, मैं फीचर आएगा तो मैं आपको दे दूंगा। सो नाउ सडनली दैट बिजनेस इज मच लार्जर देन व्हाट ही वाज डूइंग बिफोर, in spite of the fact that Google is also selling it, somebody else is also selling it, doesn't matter, right? So sometimes you have to kill your product to create a better product, and you will get paid better out of that, right? So don't worry, you don't have a choice, you have to kill it, or maybe Yogesh will kill it for you.
Okay. If someone is starting his practice newly, how should he approach? If there is someone who's just
Again,
cleared.
I'll go back to my discussion that I made with you. Do a research, figure out
Okay.
what your strengths are. Are you outgoing person? Can you talk easily to people? If you are, you should look at trying to join with somebody who does not have that skill. So, for example, if Nishchit is more a desk person, can do analytics but cannot sell, for example, let's join up with somebody who can do sales, for example. So maybe if you want to do practice, join with people who have different skills to create a winning skill, overall a winning bouquet. The times for setting up individual practices is not easy because, okay, if you want to do individual, then you have your skill set has to be very, very good. One specific skill set, which people will come to you, right? अगर आप बहुत ही अच्छे GST में हो, where you can create opinions, where you know the law very well, then people will come to you because you'll go and fight for them. So that's called a chamber practice, where people come to you at your own time and take your skill, right? So if you're not somebody like that, then my suggestion would be to join hands with different sets of team skills, create a little larger platform. And if you're asking me what are the kind of services that one should look at, I'm saying if you're new, just forget about auditing. वैसे ही नहीं देगा आपको कोई ऑडिट, आप नए हो वैसे ही नहीं देगा, तो क्यों दिमाग लगा रहे हो, राइट? There are 500 services outside which one can actually start giving, from accounting services to MIS services to be data analytics services, to maybe geography-based consulting services. That what can one do in Mira Road? What can one do in Nagpur, for example? There are like 500 services available if you look at any report today, right? Pick up one. Try to do that service all across the country, slowly. First in your geography, but just one service. And I gave this example, I think, in one of my sessions, that in Nagpur, I met with somebody who picked up only TDS. I don't know if you remember that. It's there in my YouTube or somewhere. TDS. और वो TDS को लेके उसने बिजनेस बना दिया, और TDS के ऊपर हम लोग सब लोग तो TDS करते ही है ना, उसने बिजनेस बना दिया. He's got a turnover of 30 crore rupees. He does TDS services automation for every large bank. That company can be valued at 300 crores easily today. Yeah. right? Just from TDS.
Hmm.
हमको सबको आता है, correct? So pick up some small problem statement and explode it,
Hmm.
and that will become a fantastic area.
Thinking services, and
Absolutely.
then
Then
delivering it as a
productizing it. उसने TDS का
yes,
सर्विस किया पहले, उसको प्रोडक्टाइज किया because उसको ऑटोमेट किया, right?
correct.
Automate करके he got people who are able to sell it, and now suddenly it's become like a big thing. अभी वो क्लियर टेक्स्ट वाले ने भी वही किया है ना, क्या किया है? और
Correct.
आप ही का काम आपसे ही लिया है, आपसे ही सीखा है, राइट? और आपसे ही जॉइन हैंड्स किया है. इंस्टीट्यूट के पास आता है क्लियर टेक्स्ट, भाई हमको जॉइन हैंड्स करने दो, ये कुछ करते हैं, वो कुछ करते हैं, थोड़ा स्पॉन्सरशिप कर दिया इंस्टीट्यूट में, और वो ज्यादा टैक्स का काम कर रहे हो, आप कम टैक्स का काम कर रहे हो. ऐसा है.
उन्होंने हमारा टैक्स का काम क्लियर कर दिया.
करेक्ट, तो किल कर दिया.
Sir, इसमें what we see, like generally, if practically we see, maximum practitioners in India are small practitioners, small or medium sized. What happens is they try to deliver services under one roof, or the scope of services is so confusing, or the scope of services is so diverse, depending on business to business, that they end up doing everything under one roof, and a confused state of practice. If I could elaborate it better.
Yeah.
So in this, the mindset change is like, it's a drastic change. Like if you say, think one service and productize it. So the greatest risk that I see here is that what if that service does not stay relevant?
Doesn't
Then what?
matter, na. You have to fail to become successful in life, right? Yeah. So for young chartered accountants, how does it make any difference here? ठीक है, आप 1-2 साल शायद आप पैसा कमा के घर पे नहीं लेके जा रहे हो, माँ बाप खिला देते हैं घर पे खाना इंडिया में, तो अब्रॉड में तो वो भी नहीं करते हैं, सबको बाहर भेज देते हैं. How does it matter? You have to fail to succeed, right? So try it, take a stop loss. If that service is not working, improvise it. If that improvisation is not working, change the direction, figure out a new service. But if you have a fantastic team in place, you have people with different skills in place, you will succeed, boss. I can write it on a stamp paper, you will succeed. The teams succeed. It's always the teams which stay together succeeds in
Right.
life.
The fourth advice that you gave that day was learn to sell. Are there any tips for us to learn to sell?
No,
better?
it is the only advice that I'll give to chartered accountants. Boss, understand marketing, understand how to learn to sell. Because we have never been taught this. We have been told not to sell. Forget about learning. We have been told by the institute, आप बेच नहीं सकते, आप बेच नहीं सकते, आप बेच नहीं सकते, which is fine. आप ऑडिट सर्विस बेच नहीं सकते हैं, आप दूसरी सर्विसेज तो बेच सकते हैं ना, बॉस. Correct. So I think we need to actually go and take some classes on this. Yeah. You should run special programs on selling techniques, marketing techniques, creating visibility for chartered accountants. Sometimes even within rules, you can create visibility. You can market yourself. You don't have to come on television, but there are different ways to do it. So I think I would suggest and encourage you. You're a good young bunch of people, good team. You should start sessions on how to sell. Yeah.
Yes.
आपको CPRs नहीं मिलेंगे उसके, तो आपको नाम अलग रखना पड़ेगा. Grow your practice, but grow your practice का नाम रखो. But how to sell, boss. दिखा दो हमारे सब chartered accountant को.
More episodes on how to scale the practice. We've done
Yeah, whatever you want to keep. मैंने एक ब्रांच को उनको सीखना था, मैंने एक ब्रांच को दे दिया था how to sell, तो उनको CPRs नहीं मिले बेचारे उनको, तो नाम बराबर रखना, बॉस.
हाँ. But then there are ethical means of doing it. And
No, of course there are ethical. See, like I'm saying, if you're just asking me for an example, you don't have to go to a television to say I'm the best firm. But can you not just pick up the phone, maybe send a one-on-one email? You're not allowed to send 1,000 emails. But can you not send one-on-one email to a CFO saying that, look, this is what we do. These are the problems that we've solved in the past. If you have any similar problems, please let me know. If you can reach out or you would like to reach out to us, go talk to him with a notepad. कि सर आपके problems क्या हैं? ये साल का आपका target क्या है? तो बोलेगा ये साल टारगेट मेरा ये इम्प्रोवाइज करना, ये इम्प्रोवाइज करना, ये इम्प्रोवाइज करना, मेरा इन्वेंटरी शैपल्स में. Come back to office, design something, go back to him, tell him that look, this is what we can solve your problem. That's not called marketing. This is one-on-one communication, right? So there are 500 ways which you can do it without breaking any rules in the institute or any, for that matter, anything. You cannot just send out some 5,000 emails saying that I'm the best chartered accountant. ये मेरी प्रोफाइल है, मेरे को प्लीज कुछ काम दो. वैसे भी कोई काम नहीं देने वाला यार. वैसे भी ऐसा कोई ईमेल आएगा तो कोई काम नहीं देने वाला.
हमारी वर्क गिर जाएगी वैसे तो.
करेक्ट. So you will have to find different ways to communicate. That's what I'm saying. Root a session.
Sure. One last question before we move on to the break. We'll take a short break again, where we'll ask the audience to interact. We want good audience interaction, so I request everyone to participate when Yogesh comes up. The last question would be, what are your thoughts on collaborations and networking among chartered accountants? It's an urge
No,
by you to start.
I said by saying create a winning team.
Hmm.
And there are several winning teams that you can create. If you have some skills and Yogesh has some skill, putting 1 + 1 is not only equal to 2, it is actually equal to 4. Right? Because these two skills, when they come together, it becomes very, very powerful. So first, you need to inherently understand what your skills are. And you should be sacrificing nature. कभी कभी बहुत सारे पार्टनर्स आते हैं, बोलते हैं यार ये मेरा एक पार्टनर है, वो तो खाली घूमते ही रहता है, बैग लेके प्लेन में घूमते रहता है और बिजनेस लेके आता है और प्लेन में मार्केटिंग घूमते रहता है। वो तो हम लोग काम करते हैं सारा दिन भर रात भर बैठ के, पार्टनर की हम लोग गाली सुनते हैं, क्लाइंट की हम लोग गाली सुनते हैं, तो हमको ज्यादा पैसा मिलना चाहिए। हाँ, आपको ज्यादा पैसा तो मिलना चाहिए, लेकिन अगर वो काम ही नहीं लेके आएगा तो आपको ज्यादा पैसा कैसे मिलेगा यार, राइट? So you have to understand every work is important. So you have to have that nature, so that approach, attitude also has to be set right. It is the decade of collaboration.
Decade of collaboration. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Get one techie with you, get one lawyer with you if required. Whatever service you plan to do, you pick up a small problem statement, then you create a team around it, like-minded team around it. You would become successful.
Correct. Wonderful. Okay, so now we'll take a quick break. I'll hand it over to Yogesh, maybe a 5-minute break here, and he will ask question answers to the audience. And we get an opportunity with the technology.
Sorry. Hello everyone, your Slido guy is back. Let me just first thank Mr. Anil Bhandari for talking about various aspects of future of chartered accountant and empowering us. Now we are going to interact to understand a little more about your viewpoint on the topic we just discussed about. Go back to the Slido and get going again. So you can just scan again and we can start. We'll wait for like 20 seconds for you to get ready. Quickly join in, guys. I request everyone to participate to this part of the section. Yeah, great. So I guess we can start now. Like, Nishchit, you can go to the first question. That is, think about the future and type in the job you want to start so you can remain relevant. So what is that one job that you think you're going to gradually start just to remain relevant? You have 30 seconds to post answer to this question.
खुलो यार।
So a lot of brainstorming you need to do. Oh, great. There are some suggestions. People want to start technology and advisory. I request more people to join. And we will stop here. We can move on to the next question, Nishchit. Keeping your future in mind, what work do you think you will gradually eliminate to remain relevant for your CA career? So what do you think you need to, like, it's not always about starting, it is many a times about leaving or stopping. So what do you think that you're going to eliminate gradually? So you have 30 seconds to answer for this. Great compliance practices. Okay, more people are intending to, so it amplifies the moment more people are
Yeah, मतलब क्यों मगजमारी करना, हम चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट है यार, साला रिटर्न फाइल कर करके 5,000 रुपए कमा के क्या करेंगे लाइफ में यार, इससे अच्छा नौकरी कर लें बॉस.
Exactly. So compliance practice पे बहुत लोगों ने they have pointed out that they are going to eliminate gradually in future.
Very
Free
happy. Yeah.
advice. There's something called as free advice. Oh wow.
Free advice is also fantastic यार, you should stop giving free advices. फोन आता है ना, क्या करें क्या नहीं करें, हमारा मेरी वाइफ का इतना इनकम है, मेरा इतना इनकम है, मैं क्या करूं, डायरेक्टर का फोन आएगा तो भाई साहब बोलना कि let us slot our time, let us get together between 2 and 3 and let us understand your questions professionally so that you can bill for that time, right? So no free advices on the phone yaar. Fantastic.
Exactly. Great going. Nishchit, can we move on to the next question? Guys, do you think collaboration is the answer to growth for chartered accountants? What are your views? So all the chartered accountant believes that they need to get into collaborations for them to grow in future. Great going, guys. Great going. One last question. Can you proceed, Nishchit? So in your practice area, we've just discussed about something. Which one service you think that you can automize and productize? Come on, guys, you have 30 seconds to answer for this. Any service that you think you can automize and productize in your current business? A deep dive, small, somewhere desire of automizing and productizing something of your business. Okay. I believe
Nothing has come up. You can automize reconciliation, a very simple exercise. Absolutely, it's come up. You can automize MIS return. Return filing can be completely automated. So if you want to kill your compliance, automate your compliance rather than killing it. Give it to somebody who can automate it so that you can run it. Correct? Well, actually, in reality, entire practice can be automated.
करना इंटरेस्ट है अभी टेक्नोलॉजी ओरिएंटेड फर्म में आर्टिकलशिप करने की शुरुआत करने के इंटरेस्ट है.
हाँ, मतलब there is always a time to start again, my friend.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. But this is a complete new era. So let us begin from that angle.
Lot of people have placed an emphasis on MIS to automate and productize.
Even advisory, sometimes you get same questions again and again from different clients, right? You get the same question. You can create FAQs if you want to give it free for all you care, yeah, to build more brand for yourself, right? Koi client aaya to, sir, why don't you just go and type the question and it will give you an answer on my website. People can be happy about it, right? Or you can, of course, go and automate your entire advisory function as well. Every small aspect in your business can be, your GST can be automated, from data collection to creating a return to filing it automatically on the website can be automated. So I think just about every piece that you do can be automated, at least till 80%. Yeah.
Got it. And that's it from my side. Next section will be taken over by Nishchit. Nishchit, handing over to you after the break.
So we have a lovely audience today. They interacted. This is a chat show for you all, guys. Not only it's like we are chatting with the guest, you are also participating. So that gives an immense pleasure to see all of you together. Now, this is the favorite segment, okay? The games. And here we make it fun, interactive with the guest. So, sir, we will like to play this game with you. It's called the rapid fire game. It is a fun and easy answer the question game, okay? But it brings out your inner self and you don't have time to think. So the rules are pretty simple. No time given. You should answer the first thought that strikes your mind after hearing the question.
Okay.
Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready, my friend.
Sounds
We are
interesting.
ready to hear.
It sounds interesting.
So I have a few questions written up here for you. I'll read them out. What would you like remembered to be remembered about you?
Dreamer.
Wonderful. That was quick enough. What's your favorite movie?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Wow. What's your favorite holiday destination?
Alps
Alps. Oh,
in Austria.
nice place. What's your biggest or weirdest fear? डर किस बात का डर है?
Pandemic, yaar. I simply hated it, boss. Sitting at home. I used to travel 25 days in a month, right? And suddenly you're made to sit at home. That's the biggest fear.
Sir, technology was the biggest booming industry.
No, okay. So because you asked this question, technology is an amazing connector of people, right? We are connecting with each other.
Yes.
Now start thinking how to kill this. What will kill this? Too much
Killing
of
people?
how this would get killed. What we are doing. Yeah, we're connecting so much. So people are all hyped about technology right now. Correct? What are we losing in this technology? We are losing social interaction, human to human touch, body language, all of that we are missing, right? So there would come a time when this becomes a little more, where the entire human touch to all that you deliver will get lost, right? So today, if you are trying to ask me, what do you think of the future? I will stop thinking about this technology now, because 20 years from now, it has to be a mix and a match of interaction with technology, correct? That's why I started my conversation by saying I want to be a dreamer, right? So while I kept telling people that what competes with airlines, it is video conferencing software, because you're able to travel everywhere. Now, what competes with these video conferencing softwares? What competes is actually your ability to be able to touch, hear, look at the body language, get closer to reality, right? Which is what metaverse is already here. Metaverse is already here to do that. But eventually you would still need to have a human touch, na? आप शादी तो Zoom पे नहीं कर पाओगे, right? You will still need people. You will still need people around it. So I'm saying a nice interactive world with leveraging on technology would become of a high interest 10 or 15 years from now.
Great insights. Okay. So we're just moving on with the game. What were you like as a kid?
Well, I was a middle bencher, not the first bencher, last bencher, and definitely not a dreamer when I was a kid. I wanted to fly a plane though, but yeah.
Oh, a pilot.
Yeah, I always wanted to become a pilot. I went to the Jew aerodrome to wanted to fly a plane, और मालूम पड़ा वहाँ पे रोज आके 2 घंटा खड़े रहना पड़ता है, because पहले मेन एयरपोर्ट सिग्नल देता है आप अभी प्लेन उड़ा सकते हो कि नहीं उड़ा सकते हो. मतलब पागल हो गया कि रोज 2 घंटा आके कौन खड़ा रहेगा इधर यार. So I didn't do my had it been some other country, maybe it would have been easy to fly a plane also, but तो हमारी कंट्री का यही प्रॉब्लम है, हम लोग बनाते सब कुछ है बट उसको इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स कर देते हैं ना.
But you did fly in your business.
Well, that I don't know. Yeah, but so far so good.
Next question: what makes your team very effective?
I think collaboration is the only thing which will make a team very effective. I'm not saying that my team is very effective. Sometimes collaboration breaks, but collaboration is the only way that you can make a team effective. There is no other way, boss.
What's a surprising fact?
हमारी टीम हॉकी टीम कैसे होती थी? ध्यानचंद होता था ना, वो जाके बिंदास गोल मार देता था. कितने मार सकता था यार? 10 ही मार सकता था, राइट? और वो 10 गोल पे सब लोग खड़े होकर ताली मारते थे हॉकी टीम को. तो हमारी हॉकी टीम एकदम खत्म हो गई एक दिन. It got killed, right? Then we had to reinvent the hockey team because there was collaboration required. कि भाई जब लास्ट लेग पे जा रहे हो आप तो पूरा का पूरा कोशिश आप मत करो, दूसरे को पास कर दो यार. Something like that. So collaboration is very important. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Next question was, what's a surprising fact about you that no one knows about?
I'm a very emotional person. I'm a very emotional person.
Oh, nice. That's an awe moment. What's your secret talent?
Ability to break through problems and think through solutions.
Interesting. What's your celebrity crush? Who?
Well, I don't
Who?
really. Who's my celebrity crush? Maybe Tom Cruise was always my celebrity crush.
Already
But
side, sir.
and if you're looking out for a lady actresses, I don't know. I was really never glued to something like this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Okay. Advice to your 20-year-old self if you had a chance to go back to the time machine and be 20-year-old again.
I will want to learn to execute things faster. I would not change my thought process. I would still go back and do the same things that I've done. It's just that I didn't do it fast enough. Maybe we could have been 10x. So ability to execute faster is a very important skill that I believed I would love to, should have got it or would have loved to have.
Wonderful.
Because
So,
time is limited, na. Time chala gaya, boss. So 20 साल में हमने जितना भी कर लिया. That's okay, but time is limited, right? And there are young guys who are coming up. They are fantastic. They learn the 9th standard वाले coding सीख रहे हैं Python code का. तो अभी मुझे बोलना चाहिए members को कि आप Python सीखो, because otherwise वो 9th standard वाले आके आपको किल कर देंगे आपकी प्रैक्टिस को. आप करना चाहो कि नहीं करना चाहो, जो नया चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट आएगा वो किल कर देगा. उसको Python भी आएगा, उसको कोड भी आएगा, उसको सॉफ्टवेयर भी समझ में आएगा. वो तो 5 मिनट में टक 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 MIS की रिपोर्ट बना के डिलीवर कर देगा और आप 3 दिन में भी नहीं कर पाओगे, राइट? So ability to execute things faster, better is a very important skill.
wonderful. Okay, so with this we end this game. You were a very good sport. Played it very well. Thank you so much. And in fact, we learned a lot from you today. And just didn't want to wrap this up, but it is time to wrap up this show. But before we wrap up, we have a small parampara of the study circles that we give a vote of thanks. So
before that,
yeah.
Can I have one point?
Ravi was raising. Ravi had raised his hand as well. Yeah, Umesh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Take quick questions from the audience.
One question: do you see in future there is a vertical split in the CA profession, audit and non-audit?
Absolutely.
Or it is by force, or it has to be?
It has to be. Because the world is becoming so complex and the dynamics of business are becoming complex. Transactions are running into millions, billions. It is actually not by force or whatever, it is by nature that audit would become more of a specialty. You will have to deeply ingrain yourself. So I would say by nature, I think it has to become a vertical split. Yeah. You don't have a choice.
And connecting point to that only, he said, then why the name CBs, Chartered Accountants? We are more, the main profession is audit, and we want a multi-dimensional auditor or chartered accountant, not the auditor. Now, in that situation, why not to change the perception of the things that we are not auditor, we are other solution provider?
Well, only people like you and me can change this. And I think all of us are responsible to change these thought processes. Whoever has understood it. And that's the reason that, for example, some conferences, I like to go in a t-shirt more than in a suit, because I'm trying to tell people that don't carry the burdens of suits and ties, because that's not relevant for this generation. Innovation is relevant for this generation, right? So right from your clothing, your approach, what you're articulating, all has to change. The mindset has to change of the people, right? You have to think through yourself as innovators rather than thinking yourself as accountants and going with big ties and pinstripe suits. So all the way you have to change, and it's people like you and me who have to pass this message. And I'm very clear in my message. I keep saying audit and accounting is a dying practice. And I say this in bold letters, and I said this 5 years back, and you're seeing all of that happening today. All of that happening today, one by one. When I was the chairman of the Western region, Umesh, when I was the chairman of the Western region, Umesh, my only session that I took when I came as a chairman and told everybody was audit and accounting was a dying practice. That was in 14-15, if I'm not mistaken. We are sitting in the year 22.
Yeah. Very exciting, sir. Thanks for your great vision. And I hope this meeting would have been further more hours together, but sorry, we have limited time. Thank you. Thank
absolutely.
You for
this fantastic interaction. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so continuing with the parampara, a formal vote of thanks. I request C.S. Siddharth Dwivedi to come forward and present his vote of thanks to us.
I don't know. Ravi Jain had raised his hand in the middle. Do you have a question, Ravi, before we end this session?
CA Ravi Jain, if you're there.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. Thank you, Nishchit. It has been such an honor to be a part of this chat show, episode 1. On behalf of Study Circle, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guest, CA Anil Bhandari sir. Few takeaway from this chat show: outcome-based model, hyper-personalization, access versus ownership, autonomy of the institute, data analysis. Unique thing about the chat show that we came to know personally about our sir. Few things to highlight: he is a dreamer, he is a team leader, he is emotional person. Finally, I would like to thank all members present here for making time with us. Thank you all.
Thank you. And I would like to make one suggestion. The name of Mirror Study Circle should be Mirror Study Circle, Technology की Study Circle. So technology को थोड़ा add कर देना चाहिए. The beginning was very exciting and it was very nice. And this is the change that we have seen in the CP Study Circles activity also. That's great of you.
Thank you.
Well done.
One more thing I would like to add, sir. Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
So we are starting a campaign proud to be a chartered accountant. So please support us.
Absolutely, anytime, yeah. And all of us should support that. And I must also thank you, Mira Road Study Circle. I think it's a fantastic session that you've had. Fantastic beginning. I have not seen a beginning like this, highlighting all the interesting stuff in just 20 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever was the time of that video. So fantastic way to kind of present it. And the chat shows are really interesting because they deep dive. So continue to deep dive into individual aspects and individual maybe technology, non-technology, but technical subjects, and maybe get a little deeper into it. I used to run one every Sunday, which was the valuation standards, when I was on the chairman of the valuation standards board, from 11 o'clock to maybe say 12 o'clock or whatever. And we used to have a fantastic discussion. And these discussions remain in the minds of the people better rather than just going through presentations. So fantastic. All the best. Keep it up. And this is what is the difference that the young generation brings in: fresh thoughts, fresh energy, fresh minds. And that's very, very